glorious food, we're anxious to try it. 3 banquets a day, our favourite diet. I love food, me. I absolutely love food. I love eating food, cooking food, smelling food, hearing food, looking at pictures of food, touching food, wallowing in food. Food is seminal. Food, the appreciation of food and the love of food starts when we're very young children and grows exponentially as our taste buds get sophisticated. Food, we all love it. We look forward to the smell. We watch these cooking programmes and the sizzling and the sound of it, and we can smell it through the television screen. I love food, but I can't eat it, or at least most of it. We love food, and we only realise how important a part it is of our life when it's the joy of food is curtailed. And not just curtailed temporarily, but curtailed forever. And that happened to me. Now this video was going to be quite long because I thought about it and I thought, I want to say this and I want to say that, but it would end up going on for hours and hours, so I'm going to keep it brief. And if it goes down okay, I may revisit it because I want to talk about how we can get over these feelings that I'm going to talk about. How we can bring food back into our lives because we lose it. How we can bring our social life back in because we lose it. How we can bring back the joy of going out and socialising around food because we lose it. I got cancer about 7 years ago, and it was colorectal cancer, and it was in a place that made it very difficult to operate on. So they operated anyway. And the trouble is, I had a stoma that I'm supposed to have, like a colostomy, supposed to have for 12 months. It went wrong. My body rejected it. I was producing enormous amounts of fluid. It was just filling up and bursting. I was dehydrated. I went into renal failure. They brought me back. I was in hospital for about 2 or 3 months. They had to reoperate and reverse the operation. Operated on scar tissue that was been operated on 2 weeks before. It was a disaster and took hours. They threw me out of hospital way too early. My friend found me trying to take Molly for a walk around the local park, threw me in the car and took me to the hospital, to the doctor, and said there's something desperately wrong here. I had sepsis. I ended up back in hospital. In the end, I spent 6 months in hospital, and I came out and the dietitian said, right, you can only eat very, very low fibre diets, and you can eat basically rice, you can eat a potato if you cut the skin off because there's fibre in the skin of vegetable and fruit. You can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't drink this, you can't drink that. And I said, that's fine, doc. It was absolutely fine. It's only food. I can live without that. A fortnight later, I was going insane. I never realised how important food was to not just my diet, to my life, to my well-being, to the love of life. So what I did, I thought, well, he's told me I can only eat this and I can only eat that. So I thought, what I'm going to do, I'm going to eat anything. I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat. And if it disagrees with me, I'll cut it out. And eventually, I will find out what I can eat and what I can't eat. So I did that. And it was awful. And it went on for about 4 or 5 months. And I found out, and when I talk about being ill, it's embarrassing, really. Put it this way, I'd go to the loo probably between 80 and 120 times a day. I would be in terrible pain inside, all the way from my intestines right through to my stomach. I was just throwing food back up. And I did this, and eventually I came back and I could eat the food that he told me I could eat. But the thing is, I'd found out myself. I'd done it myself, so I could live with that because I wasn't living with the thought, well, he said this, what if he's wrong? Because I'd proved I proved him right, Mr. Dietitian. Well done you. You deserve every penny you earn. So that was it. And that's how I've lived ever since. And because I've proved it to myself that that is how it's got to be for the rest of my life, I can kind of live with it. Because there's nothing else I can do. I've not got any doubts. I've not got thinking, well, what if you were wrong? And what if I can do this? And what if I can't? And basically, I live off rice. I can eat chicken, a certain amount of chicken, only if it's roasted. I can eat fish. I can't eat anything at all with any sauce on. I can't eat any spices. Oh God, no! That would be a killer. That would be a game changer in a bad way. And I love curry. I've not got a particularly sweet tooth, but I love savouries. I love curry. I love chilli. I love the hotter the better. And I can't. I can just eat rice, chicken, bit of pasta, bit of fish. How do I get my vitamins? Well, I do, obviously, because I'm still all right and I've not suffered at all. I do eat small amounts of vegetables when I can because I love it. I have always had a great diet because I only like food that was good for me. Having said that, I mean, I eat curries and things like that, but I can't eat processed food. Processed food just leaves a coating on my tongue and makes me feel very, very ill. So I've never eaten anything like that. It's always been fresh food, and that's all I've ever eaten. But now I have to live off a very, very simple diet. But I can live with that because it's what I have to do. But there are repercussions and ramifications to your social life. I've not been to a restaurant for years and years because there's basically nothing I can eat in there. I don't know when I'm actually going to get stomach cramps. They come on all of a sudden. Many videos I've recorded where I've had to get back to the car and get home just so I can take some painkillers and lie on the couch because that's how my life is going to be because my operation went wrong. Family gatherings I avoid, and the thing is my family understand this and they're very sympathetic. They do still ask me. The thing is, like, if I go round to my family and they decide, oh, let's get a Chinese in, all I can eat, I just order some plain rice because that's all. But they pretend they don't notice, but I know they do. And it's awkward for everybody, and I don't want that to happen, so I keep away. I love cooking. I've always loved cooking. I'd spend days cooking. And now I've got a rice cooker. And I get a chicken and I roast that. And I cut some chicken up into the rice. I can eat soy sauce, there's stuff like that. Not a great amount, and not all the time, but there are little things like that I can eat. And at the end of this, if I've got time, I'm going to make some onigiri. Onigiri is a Japanese rice dish, and basically it's rice balls wrapped in nori, like the seaweed that goes around sushi. And it's just rice. And you can put whatever filling you want in it and you just like make a ball out of it. And it's very simple and I love it because I can put anything in it. But the thing is, what it does, it allows me to cook. It allows me that joy of cooking. I've got to the stage now where I can watch cookery programs, I can see photographs of food and it doesn't make me a great longing to eat that. It did, and it took me a long time to get over that feeling, but it doesn't anymore because I've got used to it and I know this is the rest of my life. Like I say, I've not been to a Christmas dinner for years and years. I like being on my own anyway, but it's just awkward because I can't eat anything. I can't go to restaurants. The trouble is, you go to a restaurant, obviously everything has got some kind of sauce or some kind of spice. Of course it has, because it makes the food delicious. But I can't eat it. I've been occasionally and I struggle because I don't want to stand out, so I will order something that's as close as possible to what I can eat and then eat some of it, I can, just so I can join in the conversation and join in the experience. I love to drink, and I still do like a drink, but I can only drink very little because alcohol irritates my stomach. So I've had to curtail that, which I suppose is a good thing. But all this time, I've stayed healthy, and I've stayed fairly fit. And I don't know why, because I'm just not getting the nutrients I need. Just shows you how resilient we are as a species. Well, don't take food for granted. When you're eating a lovely meal, when you're cooking something, when you can smell something, you go out on the street. I live near a main street in a little town that's got loads of artisan food shops and loads of restaurants. And you go out at night and all you can smell is spice, and I love it. And I'm thinking, what is that? What can I smell? And it's tempting, because I know I will eat food that doesn't agree with me occasionally, because I've got to, because food is a drug. You've got to have it occasionally. But I know what it's going to do to me, so I know what the ramifications are going to be, so it doesn't come as a shock when I'm ill after I've eaten some food that doesn't disagree with me. And when I do go anywhere, if I go out to visit relatives or anything like that, or I have appointments, I have to fast for 24 hours, because I don't know how the last food I had, even though it's bland, may react. And so I've talked about me there, just to let you know that this is coming from a standpoint of somebody who's living through this. And I just want to talk briefly about how not, because this will happen to other people. Food nowadays contains all sorts of crap that is destroying our bodies. So problems like this are going to become more prevalent. And I just want to talk briefly about my idea of how not to let it spoil your life, spoil your eating, spoil your experience with your family and the outside world, because it can, because you never realise how important food is until you can't have it anymore. And then it is absolutely devastating. I've been through hell, just sitting, and the craving, it's almost like a drug. When you just want, and you're saying, I've been in tears after my operation. Obviously, after a major operation, you're emotional anyway. Your hormones are all over the place. But I sat there and in tears because I just want to eat something tasty, and I can't, and I never will. But having said that, my taste buds have developed, so I kind of do enjoy the food I'm having now. It's very restrictive, and it's been going on so long that it has become a part of my life. What can you do about it? Obviously, there's only so much you can do, because you can't really change and alter your diet beyond your restrictions. But within that, you can do all the obvious things, can't you? You can identify over time what herbs or spices you can tolerate and use those. You have been restricted so much that you must use everything you possibly can, and find out how much of that you can use before it has adverse effects, and then use it up to that point, because it's so important. Food is so important. Eat different textures of food if you can, because the thing is, with my diet, there's no textures. There's about 3 different textures between rice and fish and chicken, odd bit of vegetable, soups. Change the texture, change where you eat. Make it an occasion. Don't just stand propped up against the kitchen cabinet eating what you can and stuffing it down because you don't enjoy food anymore. It's just a way of fueling your body, because you soon come to think of it like that. And that's very depressing. It can still be a joy. It can still be an experience. Mood lighting. Saturday night I make something and it's very bland, but I'll pour myself a glass of wine. We've got in the living room, it's nice and warm. Mood lighting, or I sit at the table and I will spread the table. I will make the table properly as if I'm eating like a family. I find that eating smaller portions helps as well, because if you're eating a really nice meal, a really nice cooked meal with loads of spices and herbs and sauces, you can eat it until you are replete. But if you're eating something that isn't appetising, it is bland and pale and grey, you get no enjoyment out of it. You just eat it up to a point where you want the experience to end. Never let it get to that point, because there is a certain amount of pleasure in it, because if you're hungry, you are sating that hunger. So eat until you feel you've had enough and then leave it. Because if you carry on, you will resent your food, and you will. And then what do? You eat less. You eat the wrong things and spend your life ill. It's no place to be. Smaller portions. Eating different bowls. I have. If I'm eating something with a Chinese flavour, most of it's rice, but it's not always. But if I'm eating something that has got that theme, I have nice bowls that relate to that cuisine. Do that. It helps. It really does help. Even if you haven't got any health problems, even if you can eat whatever you want to eat, it's nice to do that anyway. We should make food an occasion. We should rejoice in food. We should worship food. Food, let's face it, food is the most important thing next to oxygen, isn't it? If we didn't eat, we'd die. So we've got to eat. We've got to. There's no way around that. So by definition, we make that experience as pleasurable as we can, and we all know that. Food, I think, has taken on some kind of mystique in society, hasn't it? All these cooking programmes, cooking competitions, cooking books, cooking programmes, and they've taken on a mystique, but that mystique is just because the enthusiasm for it is just because it's essential. So we've taken something essential, and because we are clever beings, we've said, right, this is essential, we've got to do this, we might as well make this as great an experience as we possibly can. So we do, and it's great. And when you lose that ability, when you lose the capability to dine on savoury sauces and spices and all things good, what you've got to do is take what you've got. You've got to take your bowl of rice, or your plain pasta, and you've got to find out what you can eat. You make a little list of what you can eat, or what herbs you can eat, what spices you can eat, and chances are they will be quite mild and quite non-threatening. And then you have to incorporate those in your diet. You have to use everything. Most people use a tiny bit of what's available in the diet, don't they? Most people, there's so much out there, you will never even touch the surface of what's available out there. But people in like my position, people who've had operations and that mean that they just cannot eat that kind of food anymore, that they're on a massively restrictive diet. What you've got to do, you've got to push that envelope. You've got to make the most of what's out there, rather than just touching the tip of the iceberg of what's out there. You've got to go out and find what you can eat and what gives you pleasure. And I do now get pleasure out of cooking very, very simple things, because it's become the norm. And I can tell the difference between lots and lots of different rices. And I can eat things now, and I know that if I'm making one dish, I will use rice, long grain rice. If I'm cooking another dish, I'm cooking like onigiri, I will make I was short grain rice, but I'll use it plain and then add the fillings. If I'm making sushi, I will add sugar and I will add a bit of Japanese vinegar because it's sweet. Sometimes I do with onigiri, but it doesn't work for me. I like the savoury taste and the umami of the nori leaves and certain spices that are very mild, but taste of the sea and taste of life and taste of the enjoyment of food. And it's very, very basic. Imagine you can only live on a slice of bread, a slice of dry bread. Pretty soon you will be able to appreciate good bread, bad bread. You'll be able to taste what every little ingredient is in that bread and how much of each and how much sugar and how much salt. And you'll soon do that, and then you will get some of that enjoyment back. So don't despair if it happens to you, because it happens to lots and lots of people. You can still enjoy life. You will feel restricted. You will feel down and sad and a bit depressed. You will. That's inevitable, because you're losing a massive part of your life, a massive part that's so important to your being and how you actually move through the world around you. But you will, if you just appreciate what you've got. And I think this goes for everything in life, and this goes for the way I've lived most of my life. Appreciate the little things. Appreciate what you've got. Try not to miss, try not to worry about what you've not got, what you had, because there's so much there in front of you. You will enjoy those little meals you make for yourself. You've got to get out there and be a part of society, because you will find that most people aren't judgmental, and if they know why you aren't partaking in the curry, they won't judge you for it, will they? They won't feel sorry for you. They'll just think, that's fair enough, that's what you're doing, this is what I'm doing, and we're all happy together. Just enjoy life. There's more to life. Nothing should ruin life, but food is massively important, and food can still be massively important, even to me who's not eaten a curry, a Chinese, a steak, because I can't eat anything fibrous, any kind of fibrous fruit, most vegetables, for years and years, and thought this was going to be the end of me. I can enjoy it now, I can love it, I can go home. I'm going to go now and make some rice balls, I think, because I've got all the ingredients, and I'm going to do that, because then I can make it, I can eat it, and that will be me done for the day, and I will sit back and think, my word, that was nice. And there will be 2 or 3 simple ingredients. Like life, food can be 2 or 3 simple ingredients and be fulfilling and wonderful and wondrous and savoury and exciting. 2 or 3 little ingredients. Food is a metaphor for life, and we can live our life like we eat a very simple diet and still love it, and not be ill and not have any adverse effects. Live life like you're eating a simple diet, and the chances are you won't have any adverse effects out of your diet or your life. Wish that was true. I may revisit this sometime and talk a bit more in depth, because I had so much to say about it, because I've lived it and it's part of my life, and it kind of decides how I live my life. But I still love my life, and it's all good and it's all fantastic, and we shall see you on the flip. Peace, love and happy meals. Kimchi. Like me so. Love some of some